I would call the Trudeau government's acquisition of COVID vaccine a train wreck. Last week, according to Oxford University's vaccine tracker, Canada was 18th in the developed world for acquiring vaccine and getting it into people's arms. This week, we've fallen to 28th, and I think it's about to get worse. But the really infuriating part about this is I think, despite this train wreck, voters in Toronto, Montreal, Ottawa, and probably Vancouver are going to vote Liberal in sufficient quantities that the Liberals will continue to be the government even if we have an election this year. That shouldn't happen. This has been one of the most colossal failures this government has gone through, and it's had a lot of colossal failures. Take a look at the numbers for February and March. Since the vaccines have started to arrive in Canada in mid-December, the federal government has been sending the provinces every week a distribution schedule. This is absolutely crucial for the provinces because they have to book sites where they can distribute the vaccine. They have to get staff in who can make the injections. They have to book appointments for people. They have to decide who gets those vaccines and when they're going to get second shots. They have to know in advance, 2, 3, 4 weeks, when those vaccines are going to arrive. But every week since the middle of January, the federal government has had to say to the provinces, gee, sorry, folks, they're going to be fewer next week and fewer the week after that. This week, when those distribution schedules started to show up in the province's inboxes, for all of March, when we were supposed to be getting about 370,000 vials a week from Pfizer, for the entire month of March, it's now blank. It says numbers will be determined by the manufacturer. For Moderna, that blankness starts next week and goes through until April the 4th. So February 8th to April the 4th, the federal government does not know how many vaccines it's going to get from Moderna. And from March 1st to April 4th, it has no idea how many it's getting from Pfizer. That's how bad this government has been. It's so bad that Canada is now the only G7 country that has dipped into the worldwide reserve of vaccines that's supposed to be reserved for the poorest countries. The rich countries get together, they put all these vaccines into a big stockpile, and they say, okay, you poor countries, you take vaccine out of there because we know that you can't make deals directly with the manufacturing companies the way we can. Canada, the only G7 country to have dipped into that pool, taken some back, robbed the poor to ensure Liberal votes. That's disgusting to me. But I think that Toronto, Montreal, Ottawa, and Vancouver voters are so easily scared, so easily diverted by the Liberal war room, that the Liberals will say, oh my goodness, did you notice? The Conservatives got one donation of $131 from a racist man. You can't trust them to be in government. Despite all of our scandals, despite blackface, despite We Charity, despite the Aga Khan Island, despite SNC-Lavalin, and now, despite the train wreck of vaccine acquisition, you have to elect us because the other guys are scary. And there will be just enough voters in the Golden Triangle and in the Lower Mainland in BC who buy into that fear that the Liberals will win at least another minority government.